can I? What can I do? What do I need to learn to make this possible? So reframing this gives us power to move forward in our lives and become the better person of ourselves that we want to become. And something that I also want to mention is it's really good for us to focus on any of those goals or any of the small goals that we have to our big goal. So that'd be like any kind of wins. So if you're going up the stairs, just think of every step that you're taking up those stairs is a win. You're getting closer to your destination that's at the top. And we have to remember that it's a journey and it's going through the journey to get to the destination. It's the journey that matters more than even the destination. And I think a lot of us tend to forget that. And that was something that many of the ladies have now mentioned, like Marcy, talking about having a plan. Yes, you have to have the plan set and forth to get to your destination. And I love how it seems like so many of our topics are aligning so well. It feels really good. But yeah, so like one of the tips that I do for winning and celebrating it is I have a win-win jar. And so what I do is I write whatever my win is. Maybe it's like, oh, I have $10 now. So I write it on a piece of paper and then I put it in my win-win jar. So when I'm having one of those off days, feeling really bad, I look at my jar and then I go, yeah, I am doing great. And just pull out a couple of them, go, oh yes, I've done this and this. Because let's be real, everyone has some off days. We're not perfect and it's okay. And it's good to realize that and recognize it and take it for grace. You know, it's good to be your best friend instead of your worst critic. And that's another thing that I love telling my clients. And as we go back to the limiting beliefs, it's good for us to take action. Now, this is something that is really hard to follow through when fear gets involved. And I know so many of us out there have dealt with fear, and many of us, it's hard to keep moving forward. And I get it. Life gets tough. Some of those obstacles we go through, it's hard to face them head on. However, we also have to realize that, and this is something that Michelle had mentioned, that each obstacle or chapter that you have in your life, it's put there for a reason. It's a lesson that you will grow through and learn from. So that's something I believe full-heartedly is so true for all of us to realize and recognize. So we also have to realize that progress, it's not a perfection. It's okay. You're going to have some ups and downs. You're going to have some problems here or there, but that's okay. It's going forward as you progress. That's what matters. You're progressing. And let's see, we're running out of time. So I'm going to leave with a really good quote that I like. It's, "You are confined only by the walls you build yourself." And this is from Andrew Murphy. And this is oh so true. So we, as I've said many times to many people, is we get to choose our life. We get to choose our path. So I want you to choose, what do you want to do now? Are you going to go forward? Or are you going to stay in one place? What are your goals? I bet you can do this. So thank you.
Danny, thank you so much for this. I see girls like, yes, Danny, I love the idea of the win-win jar. How did this idea come about?
It was actually from one of my mentors. So when I started on this spiritual journey, I didn't take just on one mentor. No. I had to take on like 4, because I guess somewhere in my mind, I'm like, I want to see these different perspectives, because each of them had different perspectives to tell me. Like one saw on a more spiritual side, one saw more in a book knowledge way, and then the others and so forth. So I guess my mind was like, I need to see these different ways here and there and there. And so when I did this, it was one of those mentors, Joanna Hunter, that told me about a win-win jar. And when she mentioned it, I was like, click. I'm going to do that, because I know physically seeing your wins makes so much of a bigger difference. Like for a while there, I was writing my wins on a piece of paper, but it got lost in a notebook. But having an actual win-win jar, you get to see the each all the little papers that are starting to stack up, and you're like, oh, it's starting to get big in there. So I think that feels really good.
Wow, I'm looking around my room thinking, where can I store my win-win jar?
Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. I love that we all share little nuggets. We all been on the same theme of the journey. It is a journey and it's a progress. Like I said, in the beginning when I opened, I said, you don't just get to the top without experiencing struggles or challenges. And it's like each and every one of you just added a little extra piece to that puzzle today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so I love it, and I loved how we seem to align so well with what everyone was talking about. And I was like, oh, this is great. Feels so good when that happens.
Mm. I never know what to truly expect because we don't sit down and like plan our topics on one thing. We all just have our own unique individual message, but in the end, all the messages is like creates a beautiful picture at the end.
Yeah, definitely. And it truly gives us, like how I had mentioned with the different perspectives, each one of us women, we have our different perspectives. So it's like we're talking about very similar topics, but yet each one of us has our own backstory with it, which helps it align with so many more people out there because there are 8 billion people in the world. It's kind of crazy to not think there's someone out there that's going to resonate with whatever you're saying. And that's like what I love what you're doing with Women Thrive is you believe everyone has a voice, and I truly believe that too, because we all have stories to say, and it's just that we need to get the more of the confidence in order to get it out there, because I know so many people that say to me, oh, but I'm not you, or oh, no one's going to read my book, or nobody cares. And I just look at them going, there's 8 billion people in the world. Come on. There has to be at least one that's going to like
Mhm.
your story.
Yeah, of course. So your book has just been published. Tell me more
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it's an international bestseller. And yeah, I'm super stoked about it. It's called The Wandering Heart, A Tale of a Misfit Traveling in Life's Wilderness. And it's loosely based on my traumatic brain injury and how I overcame it. And then, so throughout it, I guess the reason that I did it this way was because I didn't want people just to see me as a broken thing healing. So every other chapter, I have it where it's in present tense, where you get to go through me on my healing journey after the accident, and then the every other chapter from that is goes into the past. So the audience gets to see me before the accident and how crazy I was because I was a weed farmer. I was all about partying. I didn't have a future plan whatsoever. And so I think it gives them a bigger picture of the person I was. And I also say it's loosely based because I don't want anyone to feel like they're going to get in trouble or anything because there's a lot of crazy stuff in it.
Interesting. Look, I love the wandering heart.
Yeah.
And as we talk today about a journey and the fact that your life prior was kind of unhinged, you had the free, it feels like you lived that really wandering heart, as in you had the freedom.
Yeah.
And today, like from Garisha, when she was saying that her, she had life experiences that put her in a box, made her feel like she has to fit a specific mold. And as you know, my t shirt says break the mold. It feels like you were free and happy before all of that happened.
Yeah, you would think so, but I was so far away from spirituality. Like I had a very good intuition because I hitchhiked and I learned how not to get in a car and when to and things like that. However, I think I was lost within myself. And it was a hit on the head or several hits on the head to help me realize that what I was doing at the time, I liked it, but I felt like I could do so much more. Like I know to this day that I am here to help so many more people. And then being a weed farmer, yeah, I'm helping people with that, but I can do so much more than just that. And I was working for someone else as well. So nowadays I'm working for myself And I'm able to help people through my book, through speaking events, through my mind and body coaching. And this like fills my soul so much more. Plus, doing all this inner work, inner healing, I'm realizing that, oh, I wasn't totally there for my teenage self, or I wasn't there for my kid version of myself. And it hurt my heart. I mean, I cried several times while I was healing because I realized that I I forgot about these guys and they needed love and attention. And all I was about was just partying and ignoring emotions and feelings as if they didn't matter. And after the accident, I realized that these needed to be heard. And all that healing and all that intense, I mean, it was 7 years. It was intense. But after all that, I finally realized that, oh, wow, I can help other people. I can learn, like, this is a lesson, as Michelle said, that every chapter is a learning lesson for us, and that's exactly what I saw my traumatic brain injury as. And I see it more as a gift than anything.
And that's so beautifully said that now that you found your purpose, your impact is bigger. Now
Yeah.
that you've done your healing journey, you've gone through the challenges. I can't imagine going through brain injury and having to go through the layers and layers of physical and also mental healing and spiritual healing. So you've gone through it all, but now because of it, you're able to help others. Without it,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why I see it as a gift because, if I hadn't had this happen, I know I would still be doing the same thing I was doing. And I maybe would have ended up dead because I would have probably gotten shot or something because it was like a little bit of the wild, wild west out there at times. So, and like when I left the weed farming industry, I left it right when it was starting to go in drought. And there were a lot of thieves, a lot of bad things were starting to happen. And then they started having all the fires, but I wasn't there anymore. So I was kind of like, it kind of
So
worked
true.
out for me in a way, like, because I would have never known that was going to happen, but I would have been a part of it if I hadn't had this accident.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Danny, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find me on misfitwanders.com or Facebook, Instagram.
Okay, amazing. Well, Danny, thank you so much for sharing and staying on a little bit longer to kind of share more depth to your story. Appreciate it and super inspired by just the things you've been through and your vision and purpose now in what you're doing today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Wow, that was Danny. I encourage you to grab the books of all of our speakers because their stories are written in much more full context in the books that they published, and it's not a small thing to publish a book. So amazing, amazing. My last speaker, but not least, Helen Sue, who is joining us today. I am thrilled to have Helen on. Last time we had Helen closing our showcase was just super powerful. So Helen is the founder of Neo Dance for holistic thought leaders to reclaim their aliveness and inner power so they can show up in the world full of passion and authenticity through a transformational somatic dance. Hello, Helen. How are you?
Hi. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm good, thank you. Always humbled to come onto here and always humbled after hearing the previous speaker. And what Danny's been through is incredible. Um, so I always feel a bit like, oh, who am I? I've just come in at the very end, but here I am. So
Okay.
today I
Yeah.
thought actually my modality is through movement and dance, and it's all about embodiment, being in the body. Some of you might be really familiar with the term. Some of you might still be like, well, what is this whole embodiment thing about, right? Today, actually, I'm going to talk about something that's completely connected, but it's not something you'd immediately think about, and it's very connected to Raymonda's story and unleashing the power of women's voices by Women Thrive, because when we're not in our bodies, we might have a voice that's a bit like this, or you know, you know, if you're an entrepreneur and you have that 30-second elevator, 60-second elevator pitch, how much did you practice it until you became confident? And you know, when you actually start to become more confident and relaxed, which means that you're dropping out of here and you're coming more into your body, then your voice just kind of drops a bit. It becomes more grounded. You just start to find your voice from within you. It's not something that's just here, right? And actually, this part of us is very connected to our pelvic area, our creative area, our sacral area. And so when we're not in our bodies and we're in our mind, we might have a weak voice, we might have a squeaky mouse voice, or we might be completely loud and overbearing to overcompensate for the fact that we're actually so caught up in here and not in our bodies that our voice is just all distorted. And we all need to have a voice. And yes, when I was growing up, I didn't feel very seen or heard. Well, I was seen, but in a way that was, I was going to say objectified, but I don't mean that. I mean, I was seen in a way that was like, oh, I'm from a different part of the world. I've got strange look, flat face, funny eyes, this, that, whatever. I certainly didn't feel I had a voice. Everyone was always chanting and taunting at me, and it completely made me shut down. So the last thing I wanted to do was to be seen and to be heard. It was the last thing. I just wanted to shrivel away. And that continued for quite a few years into my adulthood. I went traveling and I just actually felt so exposed, you know? I didn't know who I was. I hadn't been able to feel accepted because, of course, I hadn't accepted myself, to be able to just be present out there. And so I know that some of you out there might not necessarily like the sound of your voice. I mean, we meet someone, we see them, but then what's the next thing that happens? They open their mouth. Now, if any of you have ever been on these kind of online dating apps or anything like that, right? You know, you might see someone, but if you meet someone in for real, you get the whole 3D experience. When you see someone is one thing, but when they open their mouth is another. Their energy, how they express themselves, their projection. And to do it in a way that's authentic and empowered, you have to be in your body. And so I love movement and dance. I have done since I was very young. It's my way to express, it's my way to come alive, it's my way to really drop into everything and drop out of here. And sometimes it can take time, right? Especially if we've been very busy. That's why if you're into yoga as an embodiment practice, right? If you're very busy in your mind, you can't do those balancing poses. You keep toppling over because your mind's not still enough. The beauty with dance is that you can have a crazy frenetic mind and you can move and just express and do the most outrageous expression. But what happens is that all that excess nervous energy sort of gets dissolved and then you come back to an inner stillness. I always liken it to being in India. For any of you who've been to India or that part of the world, India can be so crazy and busy. It's a land full of contradictions, right? But in the heart of it, there is this stillness that can be seen as a spirituality, which is why now we use the word spirituality in so many different ways. If we're connected to our inner stillness, our inner point of reflection, where we have clarity, where we don't have to prove anything, where we're just at peace with ourselves within, that these days also can be considered a kind of spirituality, right? So back to the voice. And ironically or interestingly, it was when I was studying my MA quite a few years ago now, my MA in Dance and Somatic Wellbeing, that I realized how important the voice was. I'd come across voice work. I've done kirtan and chanting and mantras and japa meditation, which is about repeating a phrase constantly. These days we have positive affirmations and, we voice and express what we want because it sort of brings it into form, it brings it into life, it makes it sit and land. It's not just a thought. No, we know how busy our thoughts can be, and we know how ephemeral they can be, and how distorted they can be, and so many things. Our thoughts, they can be like bullet trains, right? When we express something, and we express something with conviction and clarity, then that has a different resonance. That has a different power, which is also why you might do personal development work or workshops where they say, express what your intention was. Express it so that it's heard. And when you put that force behind you into your intention, and that force has to come from an embodied place, it's the beginning of making it a reality. It's the beginning of making it, solidifying it, of birthing it. And all this comes from within all of us, not just here, which is why, talk therapy has its place, 100%. But you also have to ground what you're learning, what you're experiencing, what you're discovering. All those light bulb moments, they can just go and be gone again. But when you start to embody, when you, in fact, take action, what is taking action? Taking action is not it staying here. Taking action is it coming into your body, doing physical activities, taking the physical steps. We don't get from A to B with just our map or our sat nav. We actually have to move our legs, get on the bike, get in the car, get on the train. We actually have to take the action. Otherwise, that pipe dream is always going to be there. And so by embodying what we want, and sometimes the beauty of moving and dancing is that we also discover what we want, because the mind chatter slows down and quietens. We come more to that inner place of stillness. And then the truth and the clarity emerges. And this is something that you can do with sitting meditation, which is a slightly different practice, because sitting meditation can require quite a lot of discipline in a different way to dance. Dance has a different energy about it, because when you move and dance, yes, you still the mind and it quietens, and then you access different layers of your subconscious where new inspiration can come. And the beauty of the creative thoughts that emerge from your mind also then travel as you're moving through your nervous system. They travel right down through your body, so that then you're creating your thoughts and your ideas literally in process, in action, in present time, which is why you can be creative as well as be calmed by the movement and the dance. And when you're in this place, your breathing gets deeper, your nerves quieten down, you're more present, you're out of here. So then when you are in a place of needing to express yourself, if you are going somewhere, if you are at a social event even, your voice will emerge natural and untethered and what's the right word? It will just come naturally. This is huge. Voice is so life. We want to be seen and heard, and we're afraid of both. We're afraid to be seen. We're afraid to be heard. We're not sure our ideas are going to be good enough. We're not sure we're going to be taken seriously. We're not sure that our appearance is acceptable enough, especially in this Instagrammed, AI filtered world. We all like to look nice. That's another thing. We all like to feel good. But there's the point where we overthink it. We're over worrying. We're not in our bodies. We're in our heads. I mean, actually, why does plastic surgery exist? I mean, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery. Is that really going to ultimately help you feel better? Really? If the belief, self-belief doesn't come from deep within you. If you have that deep self-belief, would you really put yourself under the knife? I'm going off topic here, and maybe I'm getting a bit, I don't know, controversial. But I'm just, in my part of the world, a lot of people are into plastic surgery. Not just in my part of the world. A lot of Asian people are into plastic surgery. You know, as if, having an operation to get Western eyelids, or to have your skin, or to slap bleaching cream on your face, on your skin, is going to make you more acceptable. That means you're not in your body. You're in here, worrying, overthinking. You're not in your body. And that's why, if you're going to be in your body in a way that's not competitive, in a way that has no rules, in a way that you don't have to wear a particular uniform, in a way that you can just do and be however you want. And it can be your practice. It can be your way to come back and connect back deeper into you, rather than staying up here. And it can be a lot more fun than just sitting on the mountainside, which is beautiful to meditate. Love it. I've done it in India, watching sunrise, watching sunset. This is something else. This is something else. And I talk about it with such passion and conviction, because actually, and I have mentioned this before, so many of us will watch Strictly Come Ballroom or watch shows on holiday and all that. But when it comes to actually participating, being a participant in your own dance of expression and enjoyment and freedom, how many of us have issues around that? Body issues, fearing this, fearing that. It's the oldest practice in the world. It's the oldest thing that brought humanity together for celebrations, for special events.
Thank you, Helen. I just wanted to drop in as we're running out of time for today's show. Thank you so much for sharing that message, which is all on the theme of really unleashing the power of women voices event. If you wanted people to connect with you, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, so I've got my Instagram down there, Elena Sue at Neodance. It is a new account because the other one got disabled, so a little bit sorry for itself. So please do follow me on there. I will be posting more. And then also there's my website if you want to check out more. I've got some freebies on there.
Amazing.
Yeah, a few different things.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today and inspiring our audience.
You're so welcome, Raymonda. Thank you, as always, for giving us women this voice and being a beacon of inspiration for us all.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Helen. This was Helen Sue, and as mentioned, do make sure you connect with our amazing speakers throughout their different platforms. And of course, all of the speakers that you have met today are going to be featured at the Women Thrive Summit in 2025. This is our annual Women Empowerment event that happens every year. And this year is going to be between 17th to the 21st of March. And this is a free event to attend. Make sure you head over to womenthrivesummit.com and join our waitlist already, because we have hundreds of people who are going to be attending this event, and you will want to be there. We have more than 50 amazing speakers lined up. It's a whole week, entire live event where you can get to connect with our speakers, really be poured in. It's transformational, it's life-changing, and it's going to be so much fun. We prepare for it the entire year, and what you've seen today, if you felt inspired, motivated, and uplifted, this is just a small snippet of what you get to experience during the Women Thrive Summit. Thank you so much for the amazing speakers today who have contributed towards this event, shared their stories, been here to encourage others, and of course to our team who are behind the scenes helping us make it all happen. Thanks to all our production team and those who work behind the scenes of our incredible community. Thanks to you for watching, and I hope you share this to your audience who may need to hear some of these messages. So that's it from me today and our speakers, and we look forward to seeing you at the summit in March. Take care for now. Bye-bye.